Well, hello there. Good evening. You're watching the Youth Dialogue. We're live on QCell Avenue, and I am the new host of the show, yes. And my name is Jacqueline Cooley. This is a program called the Youth Dialogue, like I said, and here, everything that involves youth, we are very much interested. And today we're going to be talking about Co-Africa. Well, I don't know what they're about, so we'll find out in a bit. In me in the studio, I have Mariama Sanyang and Isaac. You guys are welcome to the studio, and thank you for honoring the invitation.
Thank you for having us, Jacqueline.
So, Mariama, tell us everything that we need to know about Co-Africa.
Right, so I'm Mariama Sanyang and I'm the Communications Officer for Co-Africa Gambia. Co-Africa is a pan-African international organization that recruits young Africans, basically young people in the country, and deploy them to rural areas to serve them to be able to facilitate their own development. So basically what we do is we recruit young university graduates or tertiary graduates or higher national diploma and send them to the communities, and they help the communities using community-led development to be able to achieve development within those communities and in the rural regions.
All right, Mariama, so how do you serve Co-Africa? Like, what is your position at Co-Africa?
At Co-Africa, I am the communications lead. I'm responsible for the communication, branding, strategy, basically anything that has to do with communicating the mission and vision of Co-Africa to the world. From the Gambia, I'm responsible for that.
So, judging from what you said, Co-Africa is about volunteerism.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yes.
So tell us everything that we need to know about the Volunteerism Act and who are your targets?
Right. To be a Co-Africa volunteer means you have to be ready and willing to serve. You have to have the mindset to be able to lead development. Our targets are university graduates, and our age requirement is from 21 through 35, if that is the youth limit for Gambia, of course. And we're looking at people, like I said, we don't have a specific area of discipline. As long as you have your degree, you're a graduate, or you have your higher national diploma, and you're ready to serve, you can be leading change and be a change maker in the Co-Africa family. And Co-Africa, of course, is present in 12 African countries, in South Africa, East Africa, North Africa, and West Africa. And the Gambia office opened in 2023, and now we've been operating for 3 years. And in these 3 years, we've managed to deploy 75 young volunteers from all disciplines and all over the regions in the Gambia, pushing different change and success stories.
So, Isaac, what would you say push the momentum for Co-Africa's expansion into the Gambia?
It has to do with the fact that Co-Africa wants to reach out to as much African communities as possible, because of the fact that we believe in African communities and African youths being able to drive the change that that African communities need. And so that is why we came or expanded into the Gambia.
You said to drive change. When you say to drive change, what exactly are we looking forward to driving here?
Basically, we want the communities to be able to understand that they have the power to lead their own change. And that is all, and that is what we do when we talk about community-led development. Because these volunteers go to the communities and help them to understand that they have the resources, they have the assets, and they can utilize these to cause changes in their communities.
All right, so Mariama, you said it's been 3 years since Co-Africa was established here in the Gambia. So tell us, what are the major achievements that Co-Africa were able to achieve, and what would make someone want to volunteer at Co-Africa?
Right. So the major achievements, first of all, when our volunteers are deployed into the communities, they get to serve for 10 months. And at the end of their service, they have what we call their final project. And these projects range from boreholes to bridges, to poultry houses, to economic initiatives. And these projects are, of course, driven not from the volunteer choosing the project, but from the community's most pressing need. Now, what would encourage somebody to be a volunteer, first of all, are the benefits that are attached to being a volunteer. As a fresh graduate or somebody who wants to see yourself pushing national development, this opportunity gives you the junction to say, I want to do this and I'm going to be involved in the process. You're going to be facilitating change. You're going to be facilitating development. Not only that, as a young person, once you join this program, there are many more benefits. We have what we call our exchange volunteer programs. We have what we call our scholarship, entrepreneurship seed fund once you become an alumni, traveling opportunities, and obviously financial benefits, but much more importantly, project management skills, communication skills, training skills, your leadership skills are well strengthened as a young person or as a Core Africa volunteer in just 1 year.
Even the opportunity to make an impact
Exactly.
in people's lives.
But you're targeting fresh university graduates. But for many, once they are out of school, all they want to see is an employable, paid employment, right? So why would I volunteer to be at Core Africa if what I want is to be paid?
Right. I think for a young person, especially a fresh graduate or a fresh diploma person, what you should be concerned about is building your professional skills and capacity. And then that aside, I think Core Africa do give a very good financial incentive. But that aside, what is more important is who are you seeking to see in the next 5 years? And then you start that step at Core Africa. Isaac here, who is sitting here, is a clear manifestation of that. He joined us as a law graduate, fresh law graduate from the university in 2023 as part of our first cohort. And today, he's been recruited as a staff in Core Africa under the training department responsible for facilitating training for the new intakes. So this and many more is one of the benefits that you get to have once you're with Core Africa. It's not just Gambia, it's a Pan-African network.
Okay, so Isaac, you were part of the first cohort, like she mentioned. Can you tell us how it was for you when the moment you joined Core Africa as a volunteer?
I mean, for me, I have always been all about adventure and trying out new things. So for when I saw the opportunity, it was something that pushed me to join. And then when I finally got deployed into the communities, I got to experience people in a way that I had never experienced people. I got to meet new people, learn the culture. Even when it comes to the food, I got to start eating stuff that I'd never eaten before. And it was all an exciting process. In fact, I thought I knew how to speak Wolof until I
Where were you deployed?
I was deployed in Boiram. It's
Boiram?
Boiram.
Boiram. I've
It's
never
a
heard that. I've never heard of that community before.
It's in
There's many more
CRR
like
South, somewhere around Brikamaba area, Janjanbureh side.
Okay.
So it's a Fana community, and you have some Sarahules and I think 2 Fula households as well. Okay. So, I mean, I got there, I thought I knew how to speak Wolof until they were like, you know, Anagunei, and I'm like, and are good to be, and I'm like, what's good to, only for me to understand that they are saying Bidong. I'm like, hi, what Bidong way? You know, it was an experience, and I loved what I was doing there. And I think for me, the plan was go and experience this, come back and do your bar school. But I came back and I just loved what I had done and what I was doing, and I decided that, you know, I mean, when I saw the opportunity to join the team, I joined because for me, I wanted to continue making an impact in people's life, help people to also go out there to make the same impact.
But what exactly were you doing by the time you were deployed there? What projects did you bring to life? And what are some of the initiatives that you brought to that surrounding?
Okay. So we were able to, so I had a little, what we call campaign on tree planting, because there was a lot of tree cutting in the place there. So we had an exercise, and before we realized, we had planted over 100 seedlings, both in the school environment and in the community. And, you know, because of that, I realized that some people started calling me to say, okay, how can we plant some trees in our houses? You know, this was, for me, it was good because it meant we were working on changing the mindset of the people. Okay. I also had this poultry project, so I helped these guys link them up to get a grant from IOM. Basically, I helped them to apply for it. And then when they finally had it, I was able to have some training for them as well to see how they were going to take care of this poultry. Until now, it's still working and generating income for the women and the youths who were involved in that project. We were also able to rehabilitate their borehole because they were having water issues.
Okay.
And yeah, successfully they have been able to get water for themselves now at a cheaper rate.
So we have a video of Isaac while he was doing his, his community outreach, volunteerism. So let's take a watch.
Africans can develop Africans. We don't need people to come from outside to come and develop Africa. As youths, we can do something to make a difference in our communities. All we need to do is take a little step and we begin to make a difference in the life of people.
As we heard you said, as youths, we can do something to create change. Aside volunteerism in the Core Africa thing that you're doing, what else do you think youths can do to ensure that they're involved in development making an impact?
I mean, like I said, you just need to take the little steps. You are in your community. You do not need the government or you do not need anything big to start making a change. Even the simple idea of ensuring that you do not litter your area, right? Or encouraging someone who you see litter in the place is a way in which you're actually making an impact. Because once you begin to help someone see the little things or see how they can better the country as a whole, you are actually making an impact. So for me, it's not only about going out there to do big stuff, even the little things, the small things you do around, or the small things you do that causes people to think differently is a way in which you're also making an impact.
That's right. Mariama, can you share examples of the community-led success projects for Core Africa?
Right, the community-led success projects examples we've had so far, we have one in Quinala, which we partnered with U.S. Embassy Self-Help Fund. They supported that project. And then Garden Borehole was established for the women of Quinala. And also we had one in Tankular, which was successfully established a borehole and water for Tankular. And then the most successful, I could say, from G1 was Ndofan. The people of Ndofan struggled with water for decades, since the 1970s. So when a volunteer was deployed and they were able to realize their assets and potentials, the final project was water. Now, from no person in the community having access to clean and clear water to now every household having access to water in the community. Not just that, we are currently building a bridge in Kasikunda, and beyond that, we are in Sibinding as well, partnered with a couple of development partners, because Core Africa do not only deploy volunteers and do the work with the community, but we also take pleasure and part with partnering with development partners.
Okay.
And this could be government, because the Ministry of Sports last year supported us with a project in Jawarakunda, which is in Jawara village, for a sports project for football fencing. And this year we're literally doing the same as well. So Core Africa also acts as a catalyst and a connector between the communities and the development partners, just like our volunteers act as a catalyst and a facilitator in these communities to push the development that is needed.
Okay. And before talking about if the volunteers are trained, let's take a look at this video of a guy who is giving a testimony. I think it's the water project you had in Quinala. Let's take a look at that.
Number one, where there is no water, there is no life. So more problem was in the country. Finland, it was not hygiene. We operated pompe embedded in Ofenecon. Pompe embedded in Doydon Deckel. Lay 50 compounds. 50 compounds on yep. You want to say 5 or 6 pompe. Lolu ci burele dan indi fini. Waye biñu Corps Africa ñëwé bañu am committee mapping bi ak committee meeting bi am lo dafa tax ñu use ñu gis ci boppa ci development agenda ba dans la different agenda. So participation bi nga xamné tamit gis nañ ko fini. Liggéey bi Cerno Oté fini, volontaire bi fi nekkon. Say mu Oté fi youth yépp dé gëna déglu because already gis nañ ci boppa fo non.
We heard him say water was their problem. But since Core Africa stepped forward in their village, they have seen themselves, how can a community of 50 households share like 5 taps of water? Right. But tell us, What were the feelings when these success stories were coming over to you people?
Right, especially for me, taking it from the lens and shooting that and communicating with these people, it struck home. I think at the end of the day, you realized all the work is worth it, all the volunteer effort is worth it. You realize that the community will tell you now, even if there is not a volunteer there, because eventually the service of the volunteer would go off, they will tell you, we ourselves would be able to do things ourselves. We didn't know we were capable of this. And initially, that's the whole point of Core Africa. When these communities get to realize that they have the solution to their greatest challenges within them, that is where the belief of Core Africa came from the beginning stage. So, yes.
So going into a community where you've never been to live for 10 years, 10 months,
10 months, yes.
within a community, sorry, of people you've never met, you've never stayed with them, it's difficult.
Very.
I'm talking from experience, right?
Right.
So tell us, do you train your volunteers before they go on to leave the community? Because it is very important to have discipline if you're going to be living in the community where you don't know anyone. So do they undergo any training or you just deploy them?
No, they do. In the year, we have 4 series of training. The first one is the pre-service training, and that goes on about 6 weeks, almost 2 months. And in those 6 weeks, we have 2 weeks of what we call community-based training. So in the entire 6 weeks, when you come, like I always say, a volunteer would come alone, like naked, not in literal terms, figurative terms. And then Core Africa would basically pour into them, train them, change their mindset, because they are now going into the communities as a Core Africa ambassador. So in this pre-service training, they're trained. They're trained on the approaches of Core Africa, which is community-led development, asset-based community development, and also they're trained on mindset change, empathy building. They're trained on how they should relate with the community, and then they're taken to the community to be given a practical approach on what exactly that should look like. So every Core Africa volunteer knows what they're doing because they have 6 weeks intensive training. And then the beautiful part of it is they don't do it alone.
Okay.
All the staff is on the ground, and then we normally have our training in CRR or LRR.
Okay.
So even our country director, our deputy country director, all departments, every staff is on the ground every day, and even our global support office staff are on the ground to have a training with this new cohort. Okay. So first batch was 11 volunteers. This year we have 41 volunteers. Wow. And then currently we've opened our recruitment doors to 45 volunteers. 6 of which are exchange volunteers, and they are already in the country. They came last week, and they are already deployed to the community for a 6 weeks language training. Okay. They will be learning Mandinka, and they're from Kenya, Ethiopia, Malawi, and the other places.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you. But for Isaac, you've been a volunteer. Yeah. And obviously, there might have been some challenges. Language barrier, like you mentioned, food, the environment. What are some of these challenges you faced while you were doing your volunteerism?
Yeah, I think you've mentioned them. The food, for instance, I had to get used to eating mafe. Someone would be like, "Why mafe domodal and neku domodal?" You know, I had to get used to eating stuff like that. The weather up country, so usually we're like, the place is hot here in Kumbo, but when it's up there, it's
way hotter.
It's way hotter. All right, CRR, yeah, CRR is a little brother to Basse. You know, so. I had to get used to that. I remember there was a day I came back and my family members, that's my host family, saw me and they could tell that the weather was like, hey, kainopuluku, straight inside. Right. You know, I had to go inside to take a break because, you know, but as this happens, you know, you face all these things, but then it builds your resilience as well. And you're able to overcome all these things. And by the time your service is done, you look at all the things you went through and you realize that, yeah, I mean, I've become a better person and I think I can take more than I thought I can take as well. My capacity has been built as well. Okay.
So Mariama, before I take you guys' leave, if I want to be a volunteer of Core Africa, what do I need to do and how do I apply?
Right. If you want to be a volunteer at Core Africa, first of all, you visit our website, www.coreafrica.org/apply. Once you get in there, you will see all the requirements that is needed of you to be able to apply. You click that button, get on the form, and fill the questions and submit. Now, if you have any questions, get on the social media, send us a DM, and the communications team will be sure to help you with anything you have. We've also have videos all over. We've been having recruitment drives and also media tours to be able to tell you exactly what you want to hear as far as Core Africa is concerned. Anything else, you could always call us, and we're here and available to tell you exactly what you need to know about taking this very great opportunity that I'm sure you would not want to miss as a parent or as a youth.
So today is World Youth Skills Day.
Yes.
And I think volunteerism is a way to in achieving skills. What are your final words on the day?
I think that is very important. I saw that somewhere today, and relating that to Core Africa, currently our volunteers are all over the regions training the community, the youths and the women on skills that are gaining them income every single day, from super cereal production to pepper sauce to tie and dye to basically everything.
Awesome.
And then these skills are able to give these women hope. They're able to give these young people hope. They're able to create job opportunities for the rural youth in the upcountry and rural regions. And for that, I think what I'm going to say is, if you change the life of a volunteer today, or as a youth, if you take this opportunity to step into the limelight, it is not just for you. You are making a great decision and a great impact for 10 other vulnerable women in a community in URL called Fantumbu, Kantelkunda, Prince, Bali Mandinka, and Sibending, and any other community that our volunteers are serving it. So yes,
Isaac?
happy World Youth Skill Day.
Isaac?
I mean, you come to Core Africa as an individual, but you live with a lot of packages. We ensure that you live as a skilled person in different aspects, whether it's physical handwork or whether it's even professionally when it comes to your speaking and all those things. And the truth of the matter is, I will just say this for you, that all these things that we invest in you, we invest it in you so that you can also go and invest it in someone else and make a difference in their life. And I promise you, once you take the step to do this, you will not regret it, because you come out and you realize that, yes, I have made an impact, yes, I have made a difference, and yes, my skills has been utilized to cause change in the lives of people, to give hope to people as well.
Thank you very much, Isaac and Mariama, for joining us. And for you watching, and you're a youth and you have not laid your hands on anything yet, here's an opportunity for you to create change and create impact and development. Register now at Core Africa and be a change maker rather. Thank you very much, Mariama and Isaac.
Thank you,
for joining us.
Thank
We'll take
you,
a breather, and then we'll invite our next guest, Adama M. Juve, who's the Vice President of the Women Journalists Association. She's very young. When you see her, maybe you'll be like, oh, as small as she is, well, we'll find out more why she voted for that position and she was eventually voted. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching the Youth Dialogue, and I'm Jacqueline Coley. We are back with another guest, Adama M. Juve, and we're going to be talking about the media. And, you know, she's been elected as the Vice President of the Women Journalists Association not long ago, and she's just 25 years old, holding such an important position when it comes to the media. We want to know why she voted for that position, what her aspirations, what she seeks to change, and the media landscape in general. So, Adama, welcome to the Youth Dialogue, and thank you for honoring my invitation.
Thank you, Jacqueline. I am so happy to be here.
Welcome. Thank you so much. So tell us, how has been the media landscape? How has it been for you so far?
I think I would start by saying that, you know, journalists hate being on the spotlight.
I know.
We love to interview people, but when it comes to us being interviewed, it's a problem.
I was surprised when you told me, here's Jacqueline Montele. Well, anyway, thank you very much for doing this.
Thank you too. I am so happy to be here. And yes, the media in the Gambia, we've seen a lot of changes and a lot of young people venturing into the field, and it looks promising.
It looks promising, and the number
despite
is very,
the challenges.
Yeah, the number is unprecedented. Like the number of youths that we see enrolling in journalism courses, I mean, it's laudable. So tell us, Adama, you've been recently elected as the Vice President of the Women Journalists Association under the leadership of Annette, of course, who went unopposed. You were in the position with Khadija Bokum of GRTS, who we know she's very eloquent, she's very vocal in the media, but you won. Tell us about that journey and that experience.
Yes, so you're right. I was vying the position with a very phenomenal woman, very smart, rich track record and all of that. And I was luckily elected to head that position. It was really a challenging one, I must say, because when I started, I was like, but then you look at it, I knew what I could do. I know my potentials. I said, let me just go ahead with it. And Wojak voted, and they voted Adama.
Wow, congratulations once
Thank
again.
you.
But what exactly, like, put you on the spot to think and say, I want to apply for this position, and this is the reason why I want to do it?
Yes. So when I started journalism, I started very young. We are trained together.
We are trained together,
exactly.
You're right.
So I was one of the youngest in the class, the smallest in the class. But then I had a lot of aspirations as to things that I want to change. So when it comes to journalism, I did not just study it. I did not only practice journalism to inform people, but to transform a lot of things. If you look at my stories, if you look at the work that I've been doing, I've been focused on specific types of reporting, which is specifically and exclusively women, children, and persons with disabilities. So WOJAC is the Women Journalists Association of the Gambia, and it comprises women reporters, presenters, and communication specialists, and media workers in general. And we are supposed to be the representation of the women group. If you look at the stories that mostly are around women, children, and persons with disabilities, we talk about them, but most of the time, it's just the surface. There are a lot of things that people discuss every day, politics, here and there, car, and all of that. But there are a lot of stories that need to be told, and growing up in the community, seeing a lot of things happening, I was like, okay, I want to be a journalist to talk about women's stories. That I've already started doing. Now I also want to be in the leadership, bench to also ensure that I encourage other people to tell the similar stories that I am saying. So this is what motivated me to go in for the position. I was like, maybe do my win some, but let me just go. And yeah, I am.
But using your position to do that, how do you intend to do that? Because yes, women, children, and persons with disabilities, like you said, these are a set of people that people don't usually pay much attention to, especially persons with disabilities. They are marginalized. Women are always marginalized, and they don't get leadership roles like we always fight for. But how do you intend to use your position to create that change?
Yes, so before the position, I started it with the platforms that I had. I am the founder and the host of the Batahal podcast.
We're gonna get there.
Yes. So if you look at most of the stories that I have been working on, they are around those angles. And now I got into the Women Journalists Association, and one of the promises that I've made to the women journalists is that I am going to work hand in hand with all of them to ensure that we create platforms. And when we create these platforms, we would tell the stories. We would tell the women, children, and person with disabilities stories, and would also ensure that we tell them in the languages they understand. So if you look at me and my presentation also, you realize that I am very, very passionate with the local language, particularly Wolof, and most of my productions are in the local language. So this is also one of the promises that I've made to ensure that we create the platforms, but we also communicate to the languages they understand. Not just only telling the stories, but getting to them, right? Because if I want to tell your story and you don't understand what I am saying, you don't see yourself in that story. So it's important to communicate to the languages they understand. And there are a lot of young women, getting into the media. You see that. So how do we bring them all together under one umbrella, one vision, benn yoon, benn jubluwaay, to ensure that all of us work together and represent ourselves. Right?
Yeah.
So when we talk about empowerment, it's not about people coming in for you.
Yeah.
It's also you taking the position and also helping yourself out.
Exactly.
So that is what I believe.
Yeah, so if you look at the media landscape, especially in the newsroom, Adama, we always say it in the platform.
Yep.
We're not giving the opportunities. When opportunities come, they rather give it to a male, you know, because one of the things that we say, I'm dumb, and then those are going to be hitches on the job, you know, stuff like that. But tell us, how do you seek to encourage, like, the young women that are going to venture in the journalism landscape and also the newsroom? How do we intend to, like, create change in the newsroom to ensure that we are given the opportunity to lead and to create change?
Yes, if you look at the number of women practicing right now, we have a lot of women journalists. But how many of them are actually on top, leading the bigger position? Very few of them. So you are right. If you go to the institution, most of the time, the women journalists, the reporters, they're just reporters and presenters.
Yeah.
And the bigger roles are occupied by the other gender.
Yeah.
So that is the problem that, you know, we are still fighting to change. But I think the best, or one of the things that we can do right now, is to equip ourselves. If you know your job, if you know your work, and you do it and do it well, even if you're not given the position to do it in the institution, opportunities can come and you can step out and have your own platform and take the lead. So I think one of the things that we can do right now, and that I am also advocating for in our women journalist community, is to ensure that we equip ourselves. We build our capacities, we learn, we build our professional skills very, very well, so that we are not even going to compete for the positions.
Right.
Right? Yeah, when you look at this person, you know that there's no other person that can take the role, so we definitely would give it to her. If not, in that institution, another institution would give it to you, or you can create your own platform.
That's right. So what is the Women Journalists Association doing right now? What are the projects, the initiatives that, you know, this new theme is bringing on?
Yes, so you know Annette is a vibrant young lady.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And her leadership has changed Wojak a lot. Wojak that we used to know and where she got Wojak is quite different.
It is.
There are a lot of plans, there are a lot of initiatives that we have, and inshallah, God willing, we are going to ensure that we bring every woman journalist in the Gambia and woman journalism student in one room to ensure that we all work together. So it's not like getting to complete your studies to start practicing, but you know, knowing that when I get there, this is the direction I should take is one of our priorities. So we are ensuring that we work together with all women journalists, bring all women journalists together, and focus.
Right.
Yes, and do it together, inshallah.
Right. So you were talking about your program, your podcast, the Batahel. I've been listening. I'm a keen follower of the Batahel. I listen to the stories, like you said, and I would say the viewers that are watching, when you say you're using your platform to create change for women, children, and the disabled, I would say you're doing exactly that. But for someone that is not watching, has not watched any of the Batahel episodes, what is the Batahel all about?
Yes, so Batahel is my little baby that I am so passionate about. We were together at Majak, and you've always heard me talking about the Batahel. Batahel was started since high school. So when I was in high school, I was the vice president of the press club. So we used to do presentations like every day because
so leadership roles are not new to you,
no,
right?
No, never. I've always been there. So when I was the vice president, we normally have assemblies at Nusrat every day, and we would host the news. So I started the local language reporting in Nusrat. It was very challenging. I would tell you that I've cried sometimes on the assembly because I would mess up, but then I never give up. So when I come down, I always work on my flaws and come back stronger. So I started the Batahel like a safe space allowing students to come tell their stories. Sometimes they seek advice, sometimes they seek help, and we would narrate these stories on the assembly ground, and others would share their responses. So this is how I started the Batahal. And after high school, I was still, crawling with it and all of that. Then recently, with the support of very good colleagues, Ibrahim Assaw and Mohamed Nelson, we started the productions. And I connected with a lot of people. I connected with a lot of stories that are hardly talked about, stories of people who were just in their corner thinking of who would I tell my story, who would give it out, and who can I trust with it. So it gave me an opportunity to create a safe space for a lot of people. Yes. And the first season is just about me telling their stories, but the other season is coming where you would see the real faces of those that hold these stories. And I think you should be prepared for more and more.
I can't wait for the other season. But tell us, what are some of the women and children's stories that you captured in the first season of Batahal that you think are the least talked about and they are the most important part of, women and children?
Yes. So the first episode of the Batahal was a letter to my unborn child. So this is a woman who has been married for years and was not blessed with a child, and the community, the culture,
the society,
it exactly. Society
we see
calling her barren, exactly. Yeah. So this woman was sending a letter to her unborn child. She's still positive that yes, so what to be jotted in so what to be jotted tamit domi jamburu yi ma gis ci suma ron suma dom len, and I'm gonna take care of them. So she was the one sending a letter. It was a very emotional one, and you could see that in her letter she told us about women that have been divorced because of their situation. They were term barren and all of that. She has also told us that the husband has taken another wife, but that wife still has not given birth. So now questions have started, being raised, whether it is the woman's problem or the man's problem. But now, they would not attack the man. So she's the only one that is being, attacked. And a lot more of stories, women named and shamed in their community because of certain challenges. You realize that the other child's story that I've shared was the child who grew up in a household where he witnesses his parents fighting every day. So we talk about toxic marriages, we talk about problems in homes, but we don't talk about the consequences it have on children.
That's right.
So this is a story about a child who all his life, 20 years plus, he has been watching his parents fighting. And every fight, every quarrel has a lot of impact on his psychological, mental well-being. Yeah. So he's the one that was telling this story, and it was a very, very emotional one. And I had a lot more of stories of persons with disabilities, people that, would stand on the road because they have, disability. Drivers would pass them. Apprentices would be like, "Kida fa wasting time, nen kofi romba," and all of that. So all these people were knocking on the Batahal to drop a letter to ensure that their voices are being heard. And I was really glad that I connected with them.
Right.
And I was really glad that I've told their stories.
Yeah, and I like that part of the persons with disabilities. Always, you see them on the roadsides, begging for money for something to take home. But do you think the system is being just when it comes to people with persons with disabilities?
That is the problem. So the society that we live in right now, I think what we prioritize is nga yirem nit ki. Like anytime you pass them, you're like, haram make $5 or $2.
Wow.
This is not what they need.
No.
You see those arms? It's the last resort because they can't see anything else. That's what they can resort to. But how about creating the same opportunities? The system failed in that aspect. Society too. it's not only the system. You see that discrimination and all of that started at home.
Yeah.
At home, because one of the people that I've interviewed, they told me that this started at home because family constantly remind us that we are disabled.
Right.
We are not
From the onset,
fit.
probably
Exactly.
you have a child that is fit and one that is disabled. You prefer to send the child that is fit to school and leave the disabled one at home because you say, kiluma muna njering. It starts from the home.
The only njering that you think it would have on you is nga tek ko si pus wala nga tiye ko si loxo ngeen dem si marché bi and then you start begging. That is the only thing that they're used for. Most of them then generate a lot of income for their families. Yeah. But still,
exactly.
So these are the things that a lot of them suffer. And now, most of the time, we sit and we blame the system. Yes, the system has to do something. But then again, back in the home, back in the house, you have a responsibility. Take care of that child. Tell them that, you know, this is where you belong and you have full right like every other child. So this is what we can do. And also when it comes to the facilities, the system, that is the system's responsibility to create these avenues, these opportunities for persons with disabilities in schools, when it comes to employment opportunities, when it comes to skills and all of these things. This would help them to also, you know, play their quota in the development process. The person that I've interviewed is actually a very successful person. Yes, he is a teacher and he has done a lot when it comes to contributing to the nation's development.
Wow.
But he was the one that was standing on the roadside waiting for a car like every other person. And when the car drove by, mutahaw, and they realized that he was not seeing, apprentice was like, driver, can them, kid of time. Right?
Oh my God.
So that was really, you know, painful, because why would you call them that that they're wasting time when they're paying fare like every other person?
Exactly.
And he's a teacher. He was doing very well in his work. He is a youth leader. He is mentoring a lot of people. So why would you sideline that type of person? Even if they were not doing anything, they should not be sidelined.
Exactly.
Good. So yes, these are the stories that we tell on the podcast, and just to ensure that we just don't inform, but we transform.
And transform the livelihoods of many people.
Exactly.
And yes, Adama, yes, this has been a very insightful conversation. And to say I'm proud of you is an understatement. Yes, keep going.
Thank you.
But before we go, we head into elections.
Yes.
Is the Women Journalists Association planning on training women journalists when it comes to election reporting? Because there's so many, you know, misinformation, disinformation, fake news all over. And election period is when we journalists are usually very busy. We need to report on everyone that is involved in the electoral process, from the IEC to the electorates, to the people that are vying for positions. It's a very critical moment for journalists.
Very, very.
So is the WOJAC planning on organizing any training to ensure that we are well equipped before we head on to the elections in December?
Amazing. So WOJAC is not only training journalists on how to report on elections, but also how to stay safe. You know, safety is also very important. And if you're a keen follower of WOJAC activities, they've created series of trainings on how to report on events, and also how to ensure that they are safe while they're on the ground. So WOJAC has a lot of plans in ensuring that every woman journalist is reporting professionally and ethically, but also ensuring that their safety is prioritized. So you know that when it comes to journalism in the Gambia, women are targeted, both online and offline, all the time. So we are faced with a lot of challenges. So like I said earlier, being equipped, being, you know, trained professionally would help you to escape some of these targets and also prevent yourself. So WOJAC has a lot of plans in ensuring that we are all equipped professionally when it comes to reporting on election issues, but also we stay safe and prioritize our well-being.
How do we ensure that we put in the right information out there to ensure that the public is not misinformed?
Yes, so we have a responsibility, and we all know that an ill-informed society is easy to manipulate. So who are we to inform the society? Like, we should uphold the responsibility of you know, serving as watchdogs, but also ensuring that we bridge the information gap. So at WOJAC, we are keenly following every woman journalist work, and whenever we see, you know, some loopholes and all of that, Annette would not hesitate to address you.
She would.
She would. And whenever she does that, it is not just to criticize your work, because it's very constructive to ensure that you are on the right track, because we are being targeted. So any flaw, any mistake is going to get you to your danger zone. So it's more important to protect yourself. So we are ensuring that everyone is on the right track, everyone reports professionally, everyone ensures that you know your responsibility, but you also know that a lot of people are depending on you. A lot of lives are depending on you to feed them information, but also to represent them.
All right, Adama. Time is not on our side. It has been such an insightful conversation with you, and I'm happy that you honored my invitation, even though it was a last-minute thing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And to you viewers, thank you very much for tuning in to the Youth Dialogue. And until we come your way next week, it's been me, Jacqueline Colley. Many thanks for joining us, and bye-bye.